Inside your bedroom, we stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm.
Hello, I have some coffee. It is the afternoon. It is July 1st, 1:12 in the afternoon to be exact. And today we are going to talk about Camp NaNoWriMo July. So if you didn't know, NaNoWriMo is the original nonprofit. NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month, and that is in November. And over time, as the events kind of expanded, it has grown, and there are several other kind of offshoots throughout the year of Camp NaNoWriMo, mostly to build up to NaNoWriMo in November. So there's one in April, I believe. I've never done camp in April because it never lines up for me. I usually have a publication close to that date, but July almost always lines up for me. And to be entirely honest, I completely forgot about it until a couple of days ago. And then it dawned on me, I'm trying to finish drafting my book in July. So let's make that my camp project. So my goal for Camp NaNoWriMo July 2024 is to finish drafting Trial of Flame and Wings. That is my new adult fantasy romance that I would love to come out in the spring. Don't for sure know if we will get around to that date or not. I'm keeping everything really loose since I'm moving into a new line of work outside of writing. I'm finishing some certifications. I'm in school. I have my family life. I have a lot of things on my plate right now. And so I am trying to not burden myself. I'm still writing because it keeps me happy and I'm still publishing, but I am keeping the timeline loose. So enough of that. Trial of Flame and Wings. It is, I love this book so much. It's a little like Serpent and the Wings of Night meets, actually it's very much like Serpent and the Wings of Night meets Fourth Wing, in that the very, very beginning, we have our main character, Ren Bellator, who is a princess. She's the second in line to the throne. Her father, the king, sits on it right now. He is a tyrant, and he is getting up there in age, and her older brother is next in line, and he is almost worse. He's just as much a tyrant as his father, but he is unhinged, and they have full control of poor Ren. And Ren knows when she turns 19, everybody of noble birth, princesses anyway, are subjected to the trial for marriage. It's tied into the folklore and the goddesses and gods of the realm. So in this world, there's the Great Mother, who is at the very top, and she created the world and then put into it the goddess Arya, who has formed land and air, and from her, everybody comes to life and everybody leaves life. So she is the goddess of life. Everything living and breathing, that's Arya. The Great Mother worried that Arya was lonely and created her brother Nyx, who is the god of the sea. And all of that lore comes together, and because there was the sea and the land, the Great Mother decided to create something above that. So the god of air and fire was born, Arya, and he falls in love with Arya, the goddess Arya, and it creates turmoil in the mythology. They're eventually split, and basically it in some ways has created this idea that the goddess Arya and all women who are born of her need to be like controlled and protected and are lesser than men, because Arya, kind of like Adam and Eve, because Arya fell for Oriya, and from that the realm was split into the light realm and the dark realm, and magic was brought into the world and then needed to be separated into the dark realm, away from what is now the light realm, where everything is good. So Ren Bellator, princess to Honor Cove, living in the light realm, third in line for the crown, wants to usurp. She wants to take the throne out from under her father and keep it from her brother. And the only way that she can do this is to avoid marriage. And so she and her teacher, who is an ex-knight, that kind of a fallen knight, that grew too powerful. Her father could kind of see where he could be mistrusted and brought dishonor on him. And as a result, he was dismissed from his position and then worked essentially to bring up Ren. Service her teacher. He looked after her. So very much like a feminine role he was forced into. And he and Ren, as she aged, kind of are in cahoots, and he helped secretly teach her how to fight and the ways of survival in order for her to eventually usurp the throne by entering into the trial of marriage herself and win her own hand. And if she can win her own hand, then she frees herself from any male control and frees herself completely from control of the crown. So that is where our book takes off, is with Ren gearing up to enter into the trial of marriage, prep for the trial of marriage, and then eventually a lot of the book is the actual trial of marriage, where her and all of these really like men of noble birth have entered to try and win her hand. And that's where things get really interesting, is some of the people who enter into it. The most prestigious family and the richest family comes Beau. Beau is sort of like the runt of the litter. He's the only son that survived in this family. He's small, he's not super, he's very bright, he's super intelligent, very compassionate, very diplomatic even, but he does not have a lot of skill that will be needed to fight in this trial of marriage. And instead, he realizes that, just like Ren, he does not want anything to do with power, control, the crown, and what he really desires is to get out from the thumb of his family and to leave and to do his own thing, free of all the watching eyes and all the expectations. And he recognizes that in Ren also, and they form a close bond, and she kind of can't, while she's trying to like gear up because she knows she's gonna have to kill all of these people that are entering into the trial, she's having a hard time separating herself from that with Beau, because he is so nice and she understands why that's the life that he wants. And he also knows that by entering into the trial of marriage, he is pretty much signing up for his own death. He, in the book, actually says he is entering into it to make an honorable death for his family, essentially, is what he is doing. He's trying to bring honor to his family because he will have competed in this really prestigious thing, but he knows he has no chance of winning it. There are also some other seedy characters, like there's a trio of men. The eldest man that is in this competition, he has had 2 wives, all of which who have mysteriously died, and he is a bit of a womanizer, and he is seeking power and control, wants to be as close to the crown as he can possibly be, and he already is quite close to the king. And he knows that the only way to seal the deal, get riches, and be even closer is by marrying Ren Bellator. So he is from a coastal city, so he has a lot of knowledge of the sea and a lot of background in fighting and combat because of pirates and just things you have to endure being at sea. And so he is middle-aged, comes with a lot of experience, and he is kind of seen as one of the big competitors in the trial that may actually have a shot at winning it. And people gather around him. All of the other men trying to seek alliances gather around him as we get closer to the trial in hopes that they can, you know, form an alliance and get them further through the trial until things have to come to a head and everybody has to, you know, off each other. We also learn when everyone is being, everyone enters into the castle and everyone presents themselves. I'm here. I am going to enter myself into the trial of marriage, and as long as Arya accepts their entry, they will all be accepted and tossed into the trial later. And at the end of this procession, a knight walks in, and he's huge, tall, gigantic guy. His armor is really worn, like he's clearly just come from battle. And he says, "My name is Ezra Lorraine. I've just come from, oh, I'm forgetting the name of the battle. Just came from this battle. I'm here. I am entering into the trial." And that is like unheard of because only nobles have ever fought in this. And he comes from, I mean, assuming like a low, he's not even a knight when he walks in, he gets knighted. But he comes from no family, no riches at all. He just walks in and says, "I'm here, I'm entering." And of course it enrages the king, who says, "How dare you speak out against your upbringing, where you come from, thinking you can stand here before me asking for this trial given by the goddess." So they ask, why do you think you're worthy to enter into this trial? And before anyone can like launch at him, he kind of casually is just like, because I killed the bone breaker of the mountain, the king of the fallen's son. And the fallen are the people who are born of the god Arya, who fell in love with Arya, led to all that turmoil, and then split the realm in two. And Arya and Arya's people, who are born of dragons, essentially, have horns. He had horns. Arya had horns, wings, and could control fire. And his people just have horns. And then when they're mated, they have wings. But they live in a mountain, Mount Solemn, in the Dark Realm, where magic is and all the evils of the world. And so the fact that this guy walks in and says, "Hey, I defeated your enemy, the king's son, and I have proof of it. I want to enter the trial," is huge, because this is a war that has been going on forever and ever. The battle he came from, everyone believed that they had completely lost, that nothing was won because they were decimated. It was hugely harmful, the biggest battle in a very long time to this kingdom. And this guy walks in, clearly he's been in battle, and he says, "I killed the guy that everyone's looking for." And he had the proof. So everyone freaks out. He is knighted and is kind of just accepted into the trial as somebody who's going to put his name in to go to battle for Ren's hand. So nobody knows anything about him, and he's not associating with anyone. He's clearly training on his own time in the quiet, doesn't make very many appearances anywhere. And so nobody knows anything about him leading up to the trial. So here's Ren trying to prepare and get intel on all of these men who are going to go into the trial, and nobody knows she's entering herself. And so she's secretly trying to prepare and get ready to win her own hand. I am super excited about this book. It's got a lot of political intrigue. Clearly, it's sort of like Serpent in the Wings of Night, because there's also a trial in Serpent in the Wings of Night. And it's a bit like Fourth Wing, because as the series progresses, we learn more about the Fallen, the god Araya, and dragons come into play, which is super, super fun. So I am in love with it. That is my Camp NaNoWriMo project, and I am I've got a good chunk written already. I'm 18,000 words in. We've gotten through all of that establishing stuff that I just told you. I told you as much as I could without giving it away. Told you a lot of the key players. There are a few other players in there that will go into the trial, but it gets really exciting from there. So if you're a Patreon member, you will get to read more about it very soon. If you are a Patreon member, you actually already have access to the parts. I divided the book up into several parts, and each part at the very beginning, there's a short description of basically the story of the whole realm. It's the story of the Great Mother, essentially, and how she created all of these goddesses and the gods and put them all together and how they interacted. It's super fun. I loved writing that lore. And so if you're a Patreon member or become one, you already can read that entire story there, all of the parts. They will change slightly, but the stories are the same. So that's there if you would like to read it. Super fun. And yes, this will be the first in a series. I think that this will be a longer one too. I think this will be my first series I write that will actually go on to be a much longer, it won't be a trilogy for sure. It'll be a longer one. So I'm excited. So the goal is to finish writing this novel in July, which is kind of a task because I think it'll be a long one, but I'm really excited to get back to writing it. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for this book. So follow along with me. We're gonna do live streams. I have a writing live stream scheduled for tonight, actually, at 8:20 Central Standard Time. So go join me. It'll be fun. If you want to figure out exactly where I am in the book and everything I'm working on, come join me, because in those live streams, I tend to talk a little bit more about what I'm working on and some of the people and the plots and stuff. So come join me. It'll be a lot of fun. So that's what I'm working on. I hope it wasn't too crazy and hard to follow, because I'm drafting the book. I said I'm only 18,000 words in. I already know where it's going and what the book will entail, but I don't want to give too much away. So to set the scene, I think I have done that quite well. So I need to go right now. So I'm gonna leave you guys here. Thanks for watching. Check out the links in the description box for all my social media and my books. I just released a collection of my series, The Guardians of the Six Gates. Super cool. Check it out below. You can pre-order Curse of Wings and Darkness, the ebook, right now. I'm getting ready, hopefully pretty soon, to gear up and do another Kickstarter so I can get goodies and signed books to you guys. That's coming very soon, so be on the lookout for that. But that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna get back to doing my thing. I'm gonna go write this book. So read books, be kind. I will see you in the next one. Bye.